Man, I love Doom. This is even better! Oh, Doom on Mario?
This is the year that Super Smash Bros. Melee came out. Is that the world trip?
It's 2024 now, what happened? Doom 1 and 2 have received yet another official port. Adeptly titled Doom 1 Plus 2, this release is, for all intents and purposes, a replacement for the previously available ports of the first two games in the series, which were available on modern consoles and even put out on Steam. This time brought to us by the very same people who helped dust off Doom 64, applied a modern shine to the whole thing, and released it. Night Dive, who took on the task of porting Doom 1 and 2 into their Kex engine, otherwise known as the Gex engine.
Kex engine!
Alongside carrying over features first shown off in the Bethesda versions of the game, including but not limited to a toggleable crosshair on the screen at all times, all previously released expansion packs, and an easy way to jump into some of Doom's most impressive mods. And before you ask, no, you can't use this to play the scary mod with Shrek in it on here.
Shrek, no!
Plus, Night Dive, in collaboration with a few other studios under Bethesda's wing, decided to take a crack at putting together a completely original campaign for this version. Very similar to what they did for Doom 64. Hopefully this one is better though. You know what that means, folks. It's time to sell out and review more classic Doom before finishing that Quake video. Or Five Nights at Freddy's. My upload schedule is a mess. But before we begin, if you're enjoying the video so far, why don't you leave a like down below and maybe even subscribe. Anyway, let's get back to the video. This title is garbage. Seriously, whoever decided to name this new release Doom 1 Plus 2
should be drug out into the street and shot.
I mean, on a surface level, it's accurate. This is both Doom 1 and 2 stuffed together, but that's hardly fitting when you consider that it's those base games, plus all officially released expansion packs, all of it. The master levels, No Rest for the Living, and even the 3 expansions I missed when talking about them in my Doom retrospective. Evolution, the Plutonia experiments, and finally Sigil, which is probably the one I regret not covering the most, since this one was developed by good old Mr. Daikatana himself, John Romero. All of this, plus an entirely original outing developed in collaboration between pretty much everyone over at Bethesda, Legacy of Rust. And sure, that's all amazing. I still think the name sucks. Although, you know, in their defense, I mean, it is pretty hard to name things sometimes, you know, it's hard to find the one that just clicks. It's not like the answer was right in front of them. Damn it. My complaints with the name aside, the presentation in this collection is on point, listing off each available title in release order, accompanied by a small demo of the selected game, with a well put together text description of the game's premise and the overall history of the product. Basically, it's stealing my goddamn thunder. I need to read another Wikipedia article to rebound from this. Listen, jokes aside, this is pretty sweet. Classic Doom's release was a moment in history for the gaming world, sending ripples through the industry that we are still feeling to this very day. So giving possible new players a quick crash course on the context these games were released in is a welcome touch. Also, it really helps new, more casual fans tackle the releases in order, without maybe missing the fact that a few expansion packs are considered official titles. Listen, I'm sorry, everywhere I looked was giving me different answers, okay? I tried my best. On the whole, the menu style is incredibly intuitive, making it a breeze to swap between the included games depending on whatever mood you're feeling. On that note, let's see how well these games run in this new engine. Yeah, that's Doom alright. Hi, I'm JustinDG, and I only offer up the most insightful commentary on the games I review. Yes, much like the older ports that 1 and 2 are replacing, this compilation is an excellent way to experience the original Doom series. The guns, the maps, everything is exactly how you remember them, with no major alterations to the base experience on offer. The games all run fantastically, the controller scheme works as well as can be expected, and the games can now be displayed in 4K, thanks to the new multi-threaded rendering system, which I think they licensed from a fan-made source port. Okay, first off, do I really need 4K with visuals like this? You see, with the new resolution, you can really sense the deep sadness Doom Guy is hiding underneath his gruff exterior. In all seriousness, there have been quite a few changes made to the game underneath the hood, most of which involve tweaks to the previously mentioned renderer. Clearly, it's not the most exciting stuff to talk about, but hey, it still feels great to shoot an imp in the face, so you won't catch me complaining. If all you're looking for is a new way to play the original games, with a few modern touch-ups here and there, Doom 1 plus 2 will suffice. Though, there is a pretty cool option new to this re-release of the games. The option for an entirely remade soundtrack composed by Andrew Hulshult? I can't say that.
Andrew Hulshult,
Who took the original tunes and remixed them into something familiar, yet completely its own thing at the same time. Now, these tracks have actually been floating around the community for quite some time, but this is the IDKFA album's first official debut. It's some good stuff, let me tell you. It's an excellent reinterpretation of the classic MIDI tracks. Hiding Secrets and My Baby at Doom's Gate really get my blood pumping. Won't lie to you though, it does feel pretty weird to listen to these high quality modern music tracks when all the sound effects in the game are still fairly bit crunched. Paired with the once breathtaking but now antiquated visuals, it can be a unique experience to say the least. That being said, I would still absolutely recommend each and every one of you throw on this OST for at least one playthrough. You don't really process it in the moment, but the music you're listening to while playing really does play a critical role in the experience. So if you're looking to mix it up or simply get some even more badass metal songs to jam out to, I absolutely recommend you give the new OST a try. I salute you, Mr. Andrew Schultz.
Plane crash video, very close to 9/11.
But it's not all positive, actually. There are quite a few actual downgrades from the older modern ports of the games. Most detrimental to me was a feature that saved my soul a few times during some of the more frustrating parts of Doom 2, cheating. In the old versions of the game, there was an option on the menu whenever you were in-game, letting you toggle on or off all of the classic cheat codes found in the original release. Not only are cheats always a fun inclusion, but I actually use the invincibility cheat very frequently to get shots of the demons in action. Can't do that anymore. From what I've seen online, it is still possible to cheat. You'll just need a fucking keyboard to open up the developer console and input the commands. Easy on PC, very annoying on console. Maybe there's an easier way to do this on console, but I can't figure it out. And it sucks to see. It's probably the only thing I think the older releases of the games did much better. Granted, it's a very small thing, but hey, Nerve Software did it better, I'm sorry. Thankfully, they did take something very nice from those old ports. When exploring the menu on your selected game, you'll notice a few more options, most notably, mods, which are non-official Doom mods uploaded through Bethesda's servers and made available through the application itself. Obviously, Doom modding is nothing new for PC players. Hell, I dedicated an entire chunk of my retrospective to reviewing a few of the more impressive mods available on the internet. So it's a bit of a nothing inclusion over there. Consoles, on the other hand, never really received player-made modifications unless using a jailbroken console. Obviously, there are a few outliers, but it's far from a common practice. Thankfully, Doom 1 plus 2 allows us Xbox players to experience... aside from Mario gunning down Koopas, the mod catalog on offer is pretty good, offering up a few of the most well-regarded mods to this beloved game. I specifically remember hearing a lot of people say nothing but good things about Harmony and Revolution. And hey, even though this mod can be quite controversial in the modding community, there is even a version of Brutal Doom up and available for download. It's nowhere near as brutal, as the one on PC, but it's still cool to have. Although, as I said above, this isn't actually anything new. The previously available port of the game for modern systems also had a mod section, which, from my memory, offers more or less the same selection of WADs that are in 1 plus 2. It's not exactly a problem, just something to keep in mind. Still cool, but if you're really looking to get into Doom modding, dear God, just do it on PC. It's really not that difficult. You can even get a Already, I'd call Doom 1 plus 2 an excellent collection of the first couple Doom games, but we're still not done. Aside from the aforementioned new expansion, which we'll get into in a moment, we're given access to something called the id Vault, which is an archive of old development material found throughout the development process of these two games, such as a step-by-step showcase on how each game's iconic title screen was created. Same for the weapons, HUD elements, and the like. There's also tons of unused assets in this collection. Early sprites for the chain gun and shotgun, for example, had to be heavily cropped for the final game, only to be used later in Doom mods like Brutal Doom. No wonder I thought this pistol animation looked weird. It's unfinished, and that's hardly scratching the surface. I mean, did you know that there was going to be a cut rifle weapon? And that at one point it was going to have a bayonet attachment? Here's the hand from the shotgun without the gun. I love this so much, it's like he's asking, bro, come on now. And the iconic foes weren't spared either, featuring a wide array of sprite sheets, unused animations, and concept art for the demons. Even including a few demons that, for one reason or another, didn't find their way into the final builds of the game, like this guy, who's just a screaming face. Honestly, you could use this as an ink blot test. I simultaneously see a man drowning in blood and Emperor Palpatine after getting a botched hair transplant. Not sure what that says about my mental state, but we're gonna move on now. Or this old design for the worst thing in life since Almond Joy. The bloodless death animation for Pinky makes him look like a blue-collar worker after a 12-hour shift. Also, they used a freaking dinosaur toy to get the motion for his walk cycle? That's pretty cool. He also used to fucking explode. Here's an imp with wings and no eyes. You know, this kind of creeped me out when I first saw it, but then I realized that it sort of looks like the pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies. I could go on for hours, honestly, and if you'd like a far more in-depth and better look at the vault's contents, Decino made an amazing video covering the topic. But before we move on, I just wanted to point out these unused concepts for extra Doom Guy sprites, which were apparently planned to be featured in multiplayer. It literally looks like an estranged family reunion. We've got Paul, Fred, Dr. Edward Richtofen, and... Okay, someone lied at some point during the marriage. The Vault is an awesome inclusion that goes far more in depth than most other video game compilations, and it's seriously a lot of fun to explore. So, on top of including every major classic Doom release, plus mods, and now an archive of development material, yeah, this is definitely worth the money at this point. It's really hard to argue that you wouldn't get your $10 out of this, mostly because we're still not done. Legacy of Rust is the newest official expansion created for this game, developed in collaboration between Night Dive, Machine Games, and id Software, featuring an entire, fully fleshed out 2-episode campaign to slaughter through. And unlike Night Dive's previous expansion, The Lost Levels, Legacy of Rust is actually worth playing! Not only does it provide a much more fleshed out story with phenomenal environmental storytelling, more so than any other Doom title I've covered up to now, the levels all flow together seamlessly. You'll start on a UAC base on an unknown planet, only to cross through a dimensional portal and enter the bloody world of hell. Words seriously cannot describe how cool this was to experience blind. The transition is so well handled that I literally spent the next 3 minutes border hopping.
Maybe I come around this side.
No.
But it also goes that extra mile I was hoping to see from the Lost Levels on 64, giving us 3 new demons to fight and brutalize. First up, we have the Ghoul. Based on one of the Lost Souls' original designs, the Ghouls are yet another flying pest to deal with, and much like their older brother, I cannot properly explain the sheer scale of my tolerance for these guys. Yeah, I don't really have strong feelings on them one way or another. Their design is alright, I do like the almost metallic look they have, but gameplay-wise, they tend to swarm the player, shooting moderately damaging green projectiles at them. However, unlike the Lost Souls, they don't actually fly right in your face to maul you. Usually they keep a body's length between you and them, so you shouldn't ever find yourself in a situation where 5 of them latch onto you and drain your health bar faster than a gambling addict at a roulette table.
Aw, dang it.
As was common with the Lost Souls. So yeah, I'd rather have them than not, but
Meh.
The complete opposite of the next demon. This winged, Baphomet-looking motherfucker is known as the Fasago, and it's in the running to be one of my favorite enemies to go toe-to-toe with. These guys have the ability to throw trails of fire at you, which, as you can expect, will burn you to death if you don't get moving. Pair their attack, which forces you to pay more attention to your movement in the arena, with the creature's large health bar, and you're facing quite an intimidating opponent. But with enough determination, you'll take them out soon enough. Or you can just use the new flamethrower to stun lock them until they're dead. Either way, I adore these guys. Oh hey look, it's the screaming head from the vault. I wonder what unique ability the devs gave this dude. Yeah, so these guys are kamikaze. Nothing more, nothing less. Just like all the other flying boys in the series, they typically attack in swarms, although if you aren't acting fast, the Banshee's explosion is strong enough to one-shot you. Now, with that being said, you might expect me to hate these guys, but I actually enjoy their presence. Listen, when playing these games, it's easy to get into a groove, mowing down the forces of hell without much struggle. But whenever a Banshee shows up, you're forced to deviate a little bit in order to either take them out before they can touch you, or give them a wide berth to avoid instant death. Either way, it shakes up the combat cycle, and honestly, while they can definitely piss me off, I really like them. Those are the main new foes you'll encounter in Legacy of Rust. I am leaving out both the Shock Trooper and the Mind Weaver, however, mostly because, while yes, they are new additions, I don't think they shake up the gameplay all that much. Mind Weavers are simply cyber demons with a machine gun instead of a plasma cannon, and vice versa with the Shock Trooper. Obviously, I'm generalizing here. Overall, I do like them, but I wouldn't call them back for a second date. Also, the Shock Troopers have the best death sound of all time. Legacy of Rust also introduces 2 brand new weapons. Okay, once again, they aren't completely original because they're based on unused concepts from the first 2 games, but for all intents and purposes, these are new guns. One of which I have mixed, kinda negative feelings about, and the other, well, it's safe to say that, the Calamity Blade fucks. Yeah, this is one of the best super weapons I've seen in the series. Everything from its design to the 5 separate charge levels which determine how many projectiles are released from it, to the unbridled death and destruction it can bring from a single shot. I mean, you saw that clip, right? The only thing I will say is that I wish its firing sound packed a bit more punch. It doesn't really deliver when the charge beeping is building up to something, only for it to not deliver at all. Still though, this bad boy is up there with the BFG and the Unmaker. Too bad it shares its ammo pool with another new sandbox edition that is equally as likely to kill the player as it is the monsters. The Incinerator is your average video game flamethrower, which is still one of the coolest war crimes you can commit virtually. I've always loved the grungy, retrofuturism style classic Doom chose to go with for the foundation of its human art direction. Because of that, you can probably infer, yes, I absolutely love the way the flamethrower looks. Which is a shame, because I really don't like this thing. Sure, it's nice to give the Fasago a taste of its own flame sprites, but I find that the splashback range can be very inconsistent. I don't have the stats or anything to prove this, but in order to get the most out of this weapon, you really need to be careful. As always, this could just be a skill issue. I've admitted numerous times that I'm not the best at retro shooters, but whenever I pull the trigger, there's always a pretty good chance that I was going to barbecue myself. So overall, decent, but So what do I think about Legacy? I wrote Legacy of Doom in the script. So, what do I think about Legacy of Rust overall? It's better than your average DLC expansion to a 30-plus-year-old game, making great use out of unused assets from the original series, giving us an experience that feels remarkably fresh. I place most of that feeling on the new enemies, but it isn't perfect. I'd say the difficulty scale and pacing are kinda all over the place. The first mission in episode 1 is a cakewalk, straight into a bucket of rusty nails in level 2. I don't know what happened, but now all of a sudden, ammo is low, and the demon count is far greater than what you're equipped to deal with. Which is fine, but ease me in first, god damn it! Also, level 6 can go fuck itself. It reminds me of the worst of Doom 1 and 2. I know it's a preference, but I really don't like it when games give me zero direction and expect me to find the intended path after blindly wandering around for half an hour. Say it with me now. I'm bad at video games, but still, I said what I said. Overall though, I think Legacy of Rust is more than worth a playthrough. I had fun with it. I also wanted to kill myself, unrelated. Doom 1 plus 2, God, I still don't like that name, is another great repackaging of the classic Doom titles, with a deep respect for the history and impact id Software made on gaming in the 90s. While sure, most of its improvements are all on the back end, the few quality of life changes it does offer are very appreciated. Options for new HUDs, and the ability to make the text more modern. Okay, I can read this better, but I feel like it's lacking charm. And although easily accessible cheats will be missed. And obviously, if you're looking for the ultimate Doom experience, you'll be better off taking the time to boot up and tweak a source port to your liking. However, Doom 1 plus 2 and Legacy of Rust make this new collection worth a purchase. I mean hell, if you have Game Pass, you really don't have an excuse. It's free. So, in conclusion, the Shock Trooper's death noise sounds like Homer Simpson participating in CBT.